A 37-year-old woman was shot and killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis on Wednesday. Here's how it unfolded. CNN reviewed video of 3 angles of the shooting. The woman first can be seen in her car waving her hand out the window as 2 federal officers in a truck pull up. They then begin to approach the woman on the driver's side, telling her to get out of the car. At the same time this interaction is unfolding, a 3rd officer, who would soon shoot the driver, can be seen walking from the opposite side of the vehicle. That officer draws his pistol as the car first reverses and then begins to move forward. He then fires multiple shots. Another angle seems to show the car making contact with the officer before he fired his gun. The car then accelerates and crashes into a nearby parked car. After the shooting, neighbors asked to administer aid, shouting at the federal agents. We have our own medics.
Where are they? Where are they? How can I relax? You just killed my neighbor.
First of all, I don't think that was your neighbor because I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, she was a protester from another country, from another state, right? I could be wrong, but I heard that she was from another state going there with her girlfriend, her partner, into that state to protest ICE. Now, I'm going to say this, right? I think it's senseless killing, right? You did not need to shoot her. I'll agree with that. Okay. Could you have shot the car? Focus on the car? Yeah. The tires? Okay. I mean, you didn't have to shoot the window. But this is the thing where this is the problem with so many leftists, so many insane, unstable Americans. Okay. And it's hard for me to call these Americans. When an officer, right? When authority tells you to do something, I'm sorry, you should. Okay, you should. Particularly, you are in the wrong, right? You are in the wrong. You are obstructing, right? Federal duty, official duty. Come on. This is the thing where we have so many people who think. I've seen other videos of protesting and stuff like that. It's like, I'm not saying you deserve to be shot, but it's like these people think that there's no consequences whatsoever for what they do, and that's the problem. There's no fear nor respect for authority. You don't care what happened to you. You don't even think anything will happen to you. Now, death shouldn't happen to you, but again, consequences will happen, right? And the worst consequence is death. It happened. She shouldn't have been there. It's like, I'm really tired of these idiots protesting the deportations of illegal immigrants. I'm really tired of it, okay? If you want something to change, go to your politician, right? Have your politician do the work. Because really, all these protesters have yet to stop, in my opinion, I'm not sure I've seen it, have yet to stop the deportation of people, right? You're just entitled people. You're just entitled a bunch of white people. You're just entitled leftists, entitled Democrats, right? That's all you are, entitled. You're not stopping anything. You're not actually making any kind of change. You didn't care. You didn't care about these illegal immigrants before Trump, right? You didn't care. I didn't hear a peep from you during Obama or Biden's time. But when Trump comes on, now you care. Now you care about illegal immigrants. Now you care. And it's funny that you care, but you also talk about high growth prices, and you don't realize, or housing and all that stuff. You don't realize that illegal immigrants can add to that, right? It's just the stupidity, right? It's just the stupidity that these people are just wanting to, make issues. And again, I'm not saying that she deserves it. I'm just saying that we have a bunch of entitled Democrats, leftists, thinking that they are social justice warriors, thinking that they are, freedom fighters, that they're making changes, doing these stupid ass protests. You're not. Okay. Again, you want to make actual changes, even if you could, is you contact your politicians and force them to do what you think is best. Right? Get together with your politicians. This is who you vote for. This is the point of having a representative. Right? That's the point. I don't know. It's just, this is the stupidity right now where these people are protesting for idiotic things, idiotic reasons. They never cared before. Now they supposedly care. And now it's like, it's just tiring. Okay? And this is why we get senseless violence. Right? We get stupid situations like this. Okay? I mean, I've seen them, throw things at ICE officials. I've seen them I've seen them do so many things, right? And what do you think that's going to accomplish? What do you think that's accomplishing? These people, although they're ICE, they're human beings too. So if you agitate them, if you get them in an emotional state, even though they're professionals, they could do stupid shit. Even though they're professionals, we're all human beings. We can get irrational sometimes. So this shit is just stupid.
It's my fault. The de facto wife of the woman who was killed by ICE said, "It's my fault." Quote, "I made her come down here to confront agents," as she breaks down in harrowing footage. Now, I want to make sure this is very clear. She said, quote, I made her come down here. Now, there are a lot of questions around why this woman from out of state was in Minnesota in the first place. Why was her wife outside of the vehicle filming while she obstructed law enforcement? And if this woman was just trying to flee, why was she leaving her wife behind? Now, by all means, there are arguments for these things. She's a protester. You're allowed to protest. Driving from Colorado to Minnesota is kind of weird, but it's allowed. Maybe she was just trying to evade law enforcement after committing a misdemeanor or felony and was willing to leave her wife behind to escape the police. That's why her wife was left outside. However, we're going to break down the lies and give you the latest updates on what really happened, and it is her fault. This woman who was shot and killed is being called a victim. I reject this. We had the debate last night, and while I initially said that I believed she wasn't intending to hit the officer and was trying to flee, but still put the officer in fear of harm, no, I've changed my mind. I'm going to show you the slowed down footage that I believe proves this woman was intending to kill that ICE agent. And I'm going to show you the propaganda from the left to obfuscate and cover this up. Now, you may be asking yourself, I can't believe it, Tim. A middle-aged white woman trying to murder an ICE agent? I know. That's why I didn't believe it either. I'm sitting here thinking it's some wackaloon lefty who is just protesting. When the cops approach her vehicle, she tries to flee, and the cop in front of her car gets hit. He does. Not like brutally. He's not run over. Trump is wrong. I have no problem saying that. But he gets hit, and he shoots through the windshield, killing her, and follows up with 2 shots through the side of the car. Now, we can have an argument about whether or not he should have kept shooting, but by the letter of the law, it is called a clean shoot. I wish it did not happen. I do not want this woman to lose her life, nor anybody, but we're going to break down the lies from the left and the propaganda. I will start by saying this. I don't believe, in hindsight, after reviewing the footage and everything, the ICE agent needed to shoot this woman. That being said, it's a split-second decision. You're standing in front of a vehicle. It spins out, trying to run you over. I'm going to show you the video proof. Calm down, liberals. I got the video proof. I'm going to show you from our good friends, the Krasensteins, who have helped crack the case. This woman hit the accelerator while aimed at the law enforcement. And they're all saying, no, she turned her wheels to the right.
Get out of the way! Get out! Go, run! Get out the way! Get out the way of the truck! Move! Move! Move!
Tear gas! Tear gas! Tear gas! Tear gas! Tear gas! Get out! What's up?
Bob, I want to jump in here. I want to ask you where you're at right now. And we're seeing the images on the screen. There's that flag you were talking about being burned here. What kind of things are they shouting? The crowd that's out there. I know they're obviously not happy ICE is there. They've been talking about that. What are they saying? You know, what's the energy like where you are right now?
So that's one reason why I'm not getting too close, so I can hear all of you, because it is loud out here. It's profanities, a lot of profanities against ICE.
Let's talk through what's going on here for a second. There are people who came into our country and who are in our country illegally in Minnesota. The state of Minnesota is ripe with fraud. Taxpayers are going into Minnesota to remove people who are in our country who should not be in our country, and they're also looking to get rid of all the fraud that is taking place in the state of Minnesota. And the Democratic voter base and the Democrat politicians are trying to stop them from doing that. Think about that for a second. They're trying to stop them from doing that. Then, in the midst of trying to stop our government from enforcing our federal laws and stopping people from frauding taxpayers, a woman decides that she is going to obstruct ICE from doing their job. So she's busy obstructing ICE from doing their job. Then when she is told to get out of her vehicle, she refuses. Instead, she puts the car in reverse, adjusts a little bit, and then aggressively accelerates forward and actually hits an officer. When this agent is hit by the vehicle, he then opens fire and one goes right through her face. And now the left is saying that this man murdered her. And now they're out in the streets and you can see burning the American flag. This is the modern left today, actively fighting against our government for enforcing our laws and trying to stop people from committing fraud, obstructing federal agents from doing their job. A woman F's around, she finds out, and yes, it's unfortunate. And then as a result of that, they start protesting. You can see people carrying the Mexican flag around, and now you can see an individual burning the American flag at these protests. I've said it before, I'll say it again, the modern Democratic Party today is a problem.
This is my thing, right? When you're so mentally disturbed, when you do these things, like when I see people burning the American flag, waving flags of other nations, in my mind, and I've said this before, I'm America first. 100% America first. I'm American before anything else. So to see so-called Americans being fine with burning the American flag, this is why I have no sympathy for them. I'm sorry. I don't say they deserve it, right? I didn't say that this woman deserves to get shot, okay? But it's like I have no sympathy for you. I have none, okay? I have none. Because here's the thing where it's like you are so idiotic, right? What do you think is happening with you protesting? You think you're stopping illegal immigration, right? You're stopping them deporting illegal immigrants from you protesting, from you throwing snowballs at ICE agents, for you burning American flags, for you doing all this stuff. You think you're doing anything? You're not doing shit. Okay, it's for your own ego, right? You think you're something like, oh, you think you're so special because you are doing this. You're an activist. But you're doing nothing. You're accomplishing nothing. Okay, you're just entitled people. You're just an entitled party. That's the Democratic Party. You don't accomplish nothing, but you talk a whole lot of shit. But again, I want to go to a thing where this is extremely un-American. I mean, yes, it's within our rights to burn flags and do that, but like, it's un-American in the way that do you even love your country? Do you? It's okay to have critiques of your country, but to want to shit on your country, right? Shit on the American flag. It comes with history, right? It's like I swear to God, like, what's the point of you having politicians? What's the point? That's the insanity, right? You elect the politicians you elect, period. So it's their job to do what you want them to try to do, okay? It's their job. And if they can't accomplish it, well, who are you to do anything? You make it seem like this one lady protesting is gonna, stop ICE from doing everything? No, you're stupid, right? And now all you're doing is just honestly not getting other Americans on your side for something that is honestly a terrible situation. Things like this, okay? And doing it and like not caring about the Somali fraud, all this stuff, it's not getting other Americans on your side, right? It's just making certain Americans just unsympathetic to your the consequences of your actions.
From a legal perspective, because she took off in the car, okay, we know he's not going to get prosecuted. We know that the officer is not going to be held accountable for it. Now I'm touching on your humanity, and I'm talking about the officer. You moved aside. You had to pull out your gun and shoot her in the head. You couldn't shot the tire. You couldn't have made sure she couldn't get away. A 37-year-old woman, she wasn't coming down the street going 90 miles an hour. She was stationary. She was still. And then she took off. So you had to move out the way as she was taking off, okay? And you shoot her in the
wait
head?
a minute. Let me reply to that. I'm for de-escalation. I support de-escalation. In every kind of a situation, not just this. I don't want to see anybody die. All right? So if I were there, I'd like to think that I would have tried to de-escalate. But it's not fair of me because I don't know the state of mind of the officer when he sees a vehicle lurch forward, and I'm not going to condemn him. I am not going to do that, no matter how many videos you show. Show it to a grand jury, a federal grand jury, and let them decide after forensics and this and that, and hearing the officer. Okay.
Allow me to retort. Fine, Bill. But I recall a Bill O'Reilly that has covered an inordinate amount of stories involving violence, involving officers with their lives in danger. Like literally, you know what? I mean, I got to make a split-second decision. And oh my God, I could lose my life off of this. That's not what you saw. Right. You saw a woman trying to escape from a situation. So what I'm saying to you is this. I'm not trying to say that she was right in putting herself in that position. Ultimately, that level of accountability and culpability is on her shoulders. What I'm saying about the officer is, are you literally going to sit here with a straight face to that officer? I'm talking to him now, not you. I'm saying you couldn't have stepped aside and shot the tires. You couldn't have made a different decision than shooting an unarmed woman in the head and killing her.
Those are those are legitimate questions.
Wait, I got to
let the officer
Let me take a break. Yeah. No, listen. Bill, you're absolutely right about that. You got to have an investigation.
Like, ICE just executed a woman, broad daylight, 3 different camera angles in Minnesota. We all saw it. Absolutely abhorrent and indefensible. If you are already defending this, first of all, I can't believe, still stuns me somehow that every single day I wake up, there are Americans amongst me that can't even take a goddamn second to have a little bit of empathy, to think, wow, she had a family, or she had kids, or she was scared for her life. And if your response to that is still just, oh, well, I don't really give a fuck, she should have listened to what the officers were saying, to what the ICE agents were saying. You are the problem. You are incompetent.
The only incompetent person here is you, buddy. The one that you see when you look into the mirror. You keep talking about her family. She should have fucking thought about her family before she tried to run over an ICE officer with her car. Yeah. She should have thought about that. She should have thought about her kids, her cat, her husband, her everything. Is it tragic? Yes, absolutely. Every loss of life is tragic, regardless of who it is. But in the same time, like you said, she was asked several times to stop, and she didn't. She was asked several times to turn off her vehicle, and she didn't. And not only she didn't turn off the vehicle, not only she didn't just no stop, she tried to run over a cop. So one of your progressive friends made a video about, is this the precedent that we want to send? Yes! Yes, this is the precedent we want to send. You try to run me over with your car, you're gonna get shot. That is the precedent that we should absolutely set. Why? Because self-defense is above your feelings.
I'm not finna go into who was in the right, who was in the wrong with that Minnesota lady that lost her life. I'm not finna argue with y'all tonight. But I do know one thing. Y'all don't care about y'all kids enough like I care about mine. I'm not putting my life on the line for no stranger. I got somebody depending on me. My family's depending on me to come home every day. I'm not putting my life on the line for no strangers, yet alone people that's not even from here. If somebody told me ICE is coming to my city, which has already happened, I'm staying out the way. What do I look like going in the streets trying to protect people that's not even from here? Or whatever the situation is. They could be from here. I'm still not protecting a stranger in general. I got people depending on me. Don't forget that. So in this situation, they say, ICE is coming to your city in Minneapolis to figure out what's going on with this Somali fraud. Thank you. Why in the world would I need to hit the streets and stop that? I don't know. I just know it don't seem like y'all care about y'all kids enough. I don't need my child to be fatherless. And I definitely don't need him to understand that he lost his father because his father was out there defending Somalis.
The reaction to the Minnesota tragedy today shows the worst of what our divided politics does to a country. Like, for most of our politicians and social media journalists nowadays, it's worthless to even hear them speak on issues like this because you already know what they're going to say. Pretty much every single right-leaning person with a microphone saw all the evidence out of Minnesota and came to the immediate conclusion it was self-defense, while every single left-leaning person with a microphone watched the same exact videos and heard the same exact story and said it was murder. Now, beyond even talking about who's right or wrong, can we all just come to the conclusion that that type of thinking is just beyond shallow? Like, are we living in different realities, different worlds? Does the right-leaning brain perceive the world objectively different than the left-leaning brain? I mean, I'm not a neuroscientist, but I don't think so. We're all Americans. We're all humans. My eyes see the same vision you see, and my brain can understand the criminal statute of murder for self-defense the same as yours. But something, and I think we can all feel it, is seriously wrong with America today, whether it be the algorithms or just the divided nature of our national politics, whatever. Something is pushing too many of us towards extreme bias to where we only see the facts that advance our ideology. And when you have that on a massive scale, you lose the ability to even talk to each other because everyone's mind is already made up. There's no debate. There's just a battle of who can spread their ideology to more people. I just think a free thinker not captured by the biases of ideology looks at this tragedy in Minnesota today and first off is sobered by it. A mother of 3 lost her life in an instant, and no matter what, that in of itself is a tragedy. But beyond that, just fundamentally, the line between self-defense and murder has always been a blurry one and a hard thing for all societies ever to define, as a lot of it depends on whether or not internally the shooter actually feared for his life or not, or whether or not that fear was reasonable. There's a reason why criminal verdicts aren't decided in hours, because these are hard questions, and a lot of evidence we don't see yet likely exists. But because of the political state of our world, the divided state of our country, too many people only need one video and their mind is made up. We need to bring back some critical thinking.
I think a lot of people are trying to understand this really sad situation in Minneapolis. And to me, Kristi Noem comes to mind. Here's Kristi Noem here. She is the sitting Secretary of Homeland Security. She's from a small town in South Dakota. Here's Watertown from the sky. And here she is in a photo in 2011 when she was running to be a House of Representatives rep from South Dakota. And I learned that Kristi Noem had to leave college because her dad was killed in a farming accident, and then she had to go and take over the farm. And there were all these complications with taking over the farm as a young woman. And so she actually finished her degree online while serving as U.S. representative, even earning college intern credits from her position as a member of Congress. And in 2019, she wins the governor race. And then the pandemic happens and she refuses to impose a stay-at-home order. Outlets like Bloomberg in New York City did not like this, but people who didn't like the stay-at-home order did like it. So she was invited to speak at the Republican National Convention, and she says that she's good at standing up to cancel culture, and this is going to come back. She starts getting national attention, including from a Tennessee billionaire who gives South Dakota $1 million to deploy their National Guard troops to the Texas border in 2021. Here's the dude, Willis Johnson. He made his money upcycling classic cars, and she becomes a VP contender. But she writes this book where she talks about putting down a dog that was creating problems on her ranch, and it becomes a public scandal. So instead of becoming VP, she's nominated as the Secretary of Homeland Security, and she's confirmed by the Senate in not really a close vote. And the Department of Homeland Security is a huge agency. It has almost 250,000 employees. Outside the military, it's pretty much the largest branch of government. It's responsible for all of public security. I mean, so many things: immigration, terrorism, cybersecurity, maritime security, weapons of mass destruction. It's a lot. And there are a lot of people around Kristi Noem that want to pursue immigration stuff because it was a campaign promise that Donald Trump made, including this guy, Stephen Miller, who is a deputy chief of staff. He is apparently very aggressive. He has the complete trust of the president. And apparently he set this goal for Kristi Noem and her department for 3,000 undocumented migrant arrests per day. And there's this guy, Tom Homan, who is an appointee by Donald Trump. And interestingly, he has been in this job or similar for a long time, and he won an award during the Obama administration. Because during the Obama administration, he was the executive associate director of ICE enforcement and removal operations, and before that, he was a New York police officer for a long time. And Homan is not afraid to be aggressive. He went into Portland and said all sanctuary cities are going to get double the law enforcement. And he's repeated this in lots of different places. And then you've got this guy, Corey Lewandowski, who is a personal confidant of Donald Trump. He was a 2016 campaign manager, and apparently he and Noem are really close, and often he's the only person at really important meetings apart from Noem. But apparently Kristi Noem and Tom Homan do not like each other. And my sense from the research is that Stephen Miller basically puts pressure on Kristi Noem to deliver a campaign promise for Donald Trump. Lewandowski is kind of her political insider homie, and Tom Homan is the one who has relationships with the actual people on the street. And Kristi Noem is kind of the political person. Here she is getting a photo op in front of a maximum security prison. Here she is in tactical gear or a bulletproof vest, or even a firefighter. And I have to say that in my research, I came across what the left media likes to call her a lot, which is Ice Barbie. And even mainstream media outlets like MSNBC do this. And I have to say, that's a pretty disrespectful way to talk about her. And as this massive fraud scheme unravels in Minnesota, Donald Trump wants his administration to focus on Minnesota. So they organized this large surge of immigration agents to Minneapolis. And she even visited the place. And then this happens because Minneapolis is a very progressive city, and a lot of people in Minneapolis don't want ICE there. And Kristi Noem is defending her people. And I think it's worth pointing out that the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of 1996, that's the prevailing immigration law of the land, and Bill Clinton signed it. It basically set up the system for us to remove more illegal people faster. And it's important to note that through the Supremacy Clause in our Constitution, this is the law of the land when it comes to immigration policy. And in the Take Care Clause of the Constitution that basically sets up the executive branch, the president shall take care that the laws are faithfully executed. And Kristi Noem derives her power at the Department of Homeland Security through the executive branch. So it's literally her job to enforce this law, even if people in progressive cities don't like it, even if governors don't like it, even if mayors, lots of mayors, don't like it. Even if people want to block in ICE vehicles or ram them or do other things like that, immigration enforcement is literally her job. And her profile is built on this idea of resisting cancel culture. So my question to you is, should she be doing something different?